James Melendez, James the Wine Guy. Stay tuned for a video review of this Ribera del Duero wine. It's a region that I like to talk more about, and it's really creating that path. There's so many wine regions and so many wine varieties and styles and cuvées and so forth to taste, so it's really getting back to that reminding point. And I need to further develop, hone in on how to get to these wines more often. Ribera del Duero, so it's often characterized or compared to Rioja, which is also somewhat of a complement in many ways, right? But it's also one where it's like equivalent to, or it needs to look up to. So it's further inland, so you're not going to get that really profound Atlantic influence, at least in the northern Rioja region, Alavesa. And so in this region, you're going to get a lot of significantly warmer days than you would in Rioja. And so one region in Rioja, you're going to get some influence from the Mediterranean, some influence from the Atlantic. In this region, you're going to get less so, and that's really influential in how these wines come about. So here we go, proper introduction to this wine called Melior, Ribera del Duero, 2011 vintage. This is produced by Bodega Matarromera, and 2011 vintage again. 14% ABV. This is a cosecha wine, meaning a vintage wine. Spends 6 months in barrel, so the very familiar Ribera del Duero stamp here. And so for me, I think it's a really great way to think about. So you may be tasting a lot of wines from Rioja, and you should. And I also like to suggest maybe, in place of one of your experiences or desires to serve a Rioja wine, maybe you want to try a Ribera del Duero and just compare and contrast. In fact, maybe serve them at the same time. Probably a better way of really experiencing, comparing, contrasting. One is not superior to the other. There's definitive differences, and that's the beauty of wine, is that you get to taste them. So I can talk, pontificate about them, right? But ultimately, it's about getting to that point of really getting that sense and familiarity and really distinguishing the characteristics between these wines. Here we go. As always, we're going to do scent, flavor characteristics, and then the point score. Wondrous notes here of black plum, autumnal forest notes. Getting additional notes of bramble and undergrowth and leather-bound book. So here we go with the taste. Notes of black plum, tayberry, marjoram, blueberry, dried chili pasilla, and allspice. Now, someone asked me a question. I'm going to respond to that right here, which is, you drink your wines, you swallow your wines, as opposed to you see some wine reviewers that are going to spit right away. Of course, when I do my tapings, I'm going to do a slight sip, and I think for me, it's really important for me to do that. I think, and it's a full experience in terms of, I think, yes, even the swallowing experience is going to give you that, I think, full spectrum experience. Eric Asimov, the New York Times wine writer, I heard him say that in terms of, yes, you should be tasting wines, but I mean really tasting them. He meant swallowing. Doesn't mean, to the point of inebriation every single point that you taste wine. That's not his point at all, and that's not my point either, so that's why I wanted to respond to that. So beautiful wine here, wondrous wine. This is a 9.0 out of a 10.0 scale, and you can think of it as 90 points out of 100 points. If you like this video review, please give a like right here. More information on the producer will be listed right below here. Subscribe to my video channel right here, and you know where to put questions? Put them on Twitter. Also, you can put them down here below as well. And that goes to Google+, and it goes to my YouTube comments. Also, if you have comments, just put them on Twitter as well. So I'm always on Twitter. And handle there is James the Wine Guy. Again, 9.0 out of my 10.0 scale. I'm on most social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Vimeo, Google+, and Pinterest. Stay tuned for more reviews from wines around the world, and more to come. Thank you so much for joining me today, and salud.